Okay, so now we're going to talk about field preparation. There's a lot of things you need to think about when you're planning to go and execute a spray operation in the field. And some of it is pre-planning that you need to do at your shop or wherever your materials are kept. And it's important to try and do that as effectively as possible and bring everything that you need with you when you're traveling out into your park. One of the things you always need to consider first is your PPE, your personal protective equipment. Typically for spraying herbicides on non-native invasive plants, that's going to mean gloves, long pants, long sleeve shirt, a hat, eye protection. There may be additional PPE that's utilized in different sites depending on what the operation is, and of course, finally your boots. The second thing you need to think about is how you're going to transport your herbicide. It may be that you bring it in a backpack sprayer with herbicide pre-mixed. It might be something as simple, if you're going to do frill and girdle or hack and squirt type treatment, as a small hand spray bottle. And then of course, if that is the type of treatment you're planning to do, you need to bring your cutting implements as well. In addition, you might be bringing herbicide in some kind of secondary containment, such as a 2.5 gallon container that you have pre-mixed at your mix station. If you are carrying bottles like that, you're typically going to want to transport them inside of some other container, just in case that bottle has a leak, gets squashed or damaged. You want to bring true secondary containment into the field. 5.5 gallon buckets work really well for 2.5s and for the little hand spray bottles. If you are going to be filling hand spray bottles, you need to think about how you're going to do that without spilling, and how you're going to fill your backpack without spilling, which could mean bringing a funnel. For larger spray operations, you may be bringing a barrel of herbicide that you've pre-mixed. And if you're carrying significant quantities of herbicides that are too big to fit in a 5 gallon bucket, you might want to bring some kind of secondary containment that's big enough for those herbicides. It may be a rectangular bin, it may be a kiddie pool that you've gotten at Walmart or some similar place. You hope that it will never happen, but it is also important to bring some kind of spill cleanup kit. Usually that's going to be some kind of hard-sided container containing either kitty litter or a sorbent material that's manufactured to clean up spills. You don't have to have a garden trowel. You could use a cup or your hands, but it's best to have some kind of instrument to scoop up that sorbent material and scatter it over that spill if you do have a spill. Every time you stop spraying to use the bathroom, to eat something, to take a break, even to stop to eat lunch, or to travel somewhere in your vehicle, you need to have a hand wash set up. And ideally, the water you have for your hand washing and glove washing is going to be different than your drinking water. That way you're not using herbicide contaminated gloves to operate the spigot on your drinking water. You always want to keep that clean if you can. The final thing to always remember to bring in the field is your field kit, which can contain a variety of materials that are going to support your spray operations, and which additionally should probably contain some of the herbicide labels that you use on a regular basis, and definitely the ones that you're going to be using on that day. Okay, so that's basic preparation to go out and begin to spray in the field. Okay, so you're getting ready to spray. You want to make sure you have the right amount of herbicide for the job that you're going to take on. That may involve filling up your backpack sprayer multiple times. So let's go over some basic steps for filling a sprayer. Whenever you're transporting it, obviously the lid is on, but when you're getting ready to spray, you're going to go ahead and take the lid off. And depending on what kind of material you're using to fill it, you may remove the strainer. If you're filling your backpack sprayer with an herbicide mix that includes rinsate that may have particulates in it, leaves, clods of sand or other goop, you definitely want that strainer to stay in. But if you're using clean water and herbicide, sometimes it's easier to remove that strainer. You're probably always going to want to have a funnel with you for your fill operations, just to help contain the splash a little bit more. And when you do get ready to fill, it's important to point the direction of your bottle that you're filling from away from your partner. If you have a partner holding your backpack sprayer, you don't want to pour towards your partner because you may get splash on them. You also don't want to pour towards the back of your sprayer, the part that's going to be touching your back, and also where your straps are located that will be hanging on your shoulders or going around your waist. That will help reduce contamination on your clothing and yourself. So we always try and do this operation in a secondary containment if we can. Again, that could be a rectangular bin like this that's actually made for chemical secondary containment, or it could be a kiddie pool, something very, very simple and inexpensive. You might be tempted to pour this way, but it's often a good idea to turn your bottle on a slight angle to the side and pour from the side. Oops. And of course you'll see I did make a little spill there. So you want to have some rags on hand to quickly wipe that up. It's a normal part of the process. Try and avoid it if possible, but you can almost guarantee it's going to happen at different points. So just be prepared to clean it up quickly. Don't be scrambling around looking for those paper towels. Make sure you have them on hand. And then don't walk away from your equipment before you seal it back up so that it doesn't get accidentally knocked over or, in some way tip and then create a greater spill. And those are the basic steps to filling a sprayer.